You're about to discover the best-kept secret about female desire, the price you pay every day without realizing it, the invisible trap that drains your energy, your time, and your dignity while she drifts further and further away. This is the #1 way to effortlessly ignite her desire, and it has nothing to do with what you've been taught. Do you know that feeling of doing everything right, but only getting scraps of attention? You text her, she takes hours to reply. You plan dates, she cancels. You try hard to impress, she seems bored. You give gifts, she thanks you without enthusiasm. You're bleeding value with every interaction, and you don't even realize it. The invisible cost? Every second you spend trying to please her is a second you lose of self-respect. And she feels it. She sniffs out your neediness like a predator sniffs out fear. But today, that ends. Today, you learn to turn the tables using her own psychology to your advantage. I'm going to tell you something that goes against everything you believe about relationships. The big lie you've been sold is that being kind, available, and attentive sparks desire. A lie. That sparks comfort, maybe gratitude, but never desire. Female desire doesn't work like a vending machine where you insert coins of kindness and receive sex. Her desire functions like an alarm system that only goes off when it detects genuine value, scarcity, and challenge. You've been trying to deactivate the alarm when you should be activating all the sensors. Here's the raw, unfiltered truth. Female desire isn't awakened by pleasing or flattering, but by the projection of intrinsic value, authenticity, and the ability to maintain clear boundaries. When you focus on your own purpose and well-being, you naturally activate psychological triggers that generate genuine attraction and respect. It's the domino effect of attraction in action. A small shift in your demeanor knocks down an entire row of her psychological barriers. Think about it for a second. When was the last time you saw a woman obsessed with a man who was always available? Never. Because availability kills mystery. Mystery generates curiosity. Curiosity generates emotional investment. Emotional investment generates desire. It's a chain reaction you interrupt every time you reply to a text in 2 seconds. Let me show you the 7 tactical patterns that separate men who spark desire from those who spark pity. These are the psychological weapons you need to master if you want to break free from the emotional friend zone where you're stuck. First, the value frame. This is you defining and maintaining your own reality in the interaction. When she complains about the restaurant you chose, you don't apologize and change all your plans. You calmly say that you understand her perspective, but your time is valuable, and you've already made the reservation, so she decides whether to come or not. Boom, you've just established that your time and your decisions carry weight. A 36-year-old lawyer I know applied this when his girlfriend started criticizing all his plans. Instead of caving, he held his frame. The result? She started suggesting plans she thought he would like. The dynamic reversed. Second, inverse qualification. You make her work for your attention, instead of the other way around. When she talks about her job, you don't just agree and praise her. You ask what she does that would truly surprise you. You're subtly saying you're not impressed yet, that she needs to earn your interest. A software engineer I mentored started using this on dating apps. Instead of complimenting photos, he'd ask what the most interesting story behind them was. Women started making an effort to impress him. The tables turned. Third, intermittent reinforcement. You reward her behavior unpredictably, not constantly. It's the same principle that makes gambling addictive. When she does something you value, like taking initiative or showing consideration, you acknowledge it, but not always, not predictably. Sometimes you notice, sometimes you don't. This creates psychological tension, where she never knows when she'll receive validation, so she tries harder. A 40-year-old business owner client of mine stopped complimenting his wife every day and started complimenting her only when she genuinely did something special. His wife, who had been apathetic for years, started dressing up more, cooking elaborate meals, planning surprises. She was chasing the dopamine of intermittent validation. Fourth, assertive boundaries. You communicate and maintain your boundaries clearly and calmly. When she asks you to do something that interferes with your plans, you don't make up an excuse. You directly state that you can't because you have another commitment. Period. No elaborate justifications, no apologizing for having a life. A 28-year-old physical education teacher I advised always canceled the gym when his girlfriend wanted company. He started sticking to his workout commitment. She was initially annoyed, then started going to the gym with him. Respect generates respect. Fifth, scarcity of attention. You're not always available online or predictable. You take time to respond to messages sometimes, not because you're playing games, but because you're genuinely busy building your life. Scarcity increases value. It's basic economics applied to relationships. When you respond to every message instantly, you're saying you have nothing more important going on. A 33-year-old graphic designer I know had a habit of responding to his crush in seconds. He changed to responding when he had genuine free time. She started sending more elaborate, more interesting messages, trying to capture his attention. The dynamic completely reversed. Sixth, playful challenge. You tease and joke lightly to create sexual tension and interest. It's not about being a jerk, it's about being playful. When she says she's good at something, you playfully doubt it with a smile. When she tells a story, you question the details in a fun way. This creates a verbal dance that sparks chemistry. A 26-year-old salesman started using this on dates. Instead of agreeing with everything, he'd lightly challenge her opinions. Dates stopped being interviews and turned into games of seduction. Seventh, personal purpose. You demonstrate that you have a rich life and goals beyond her. You share about projects that excite you. You talk passionately about your hobbies. You show that she would be a complement to your life, not the center of it. A 35-year-old accountant who was desperate for female attention started focusing on his craft beer project. He posted about it, talked about it, invested time in it. Suddenly, women started showing interest in him, wanting to taste his beers, wanting to understand his passion. Purpose attracts. Now let me tell you about Raphael, a 32-year-old engineer, single for 3 years. He was the classic nice guy, always available to listen to the problems of Juliana, a co-worker he was infatuated with. She would tell him about guys who treated her badly. He offered a shoulder, advice, emotional support. He thought he was building something, that one day she would realize he was the right guy. He sent good morning texts every day, brought her coffee, helped with projects even when he was overwhelmed. The cost? 3 years of his life invested in a fantasy. 3 years being the unpaid therapist for someone who would never see him as a man, until the day he decided to stop. He focused on his home automation project. He stopped being always available. He started taking longer to respond. He started having commitments when she needed to vent. You know what happened? She started asking where he was. She started getting interested in his project. She started feeling jealous when he mentioned other people. In 2 months, she asked him out. 3 years of availability didn't do what 2 months of scarcity did. Then there's the case of Marcus, a 40-year-old businessman, married for 12 years. He felt his wife growing more and more distant. Sex had become a monthly obligation. Conversations were domestic logistics. He tried everything common sense suggests. Expensive dinners, jewelry, trips, declarations of love, couples therapy. Nothing worked. She remained apathetic, on her phone, distant. The cost? Thousands of dollars spent, destroyed self-esteem, a marriage that was just for show, until he changed his strategy. He stopped pursuing. He started training jiu-jitsu. He went out with his friends again. He resumed his project of opening a second company. He stopped reacting when she was irritated. He remained calm when she tested his limits. He focused on himself. In 3 months, she was asking about his training, wanting to go out with his friends, interested in the new company, initiating sex for the first time in years. He stopped, pursuing, and she started drawing closer. And Pedro, a 23-year-old college student. He started dating Camila, and within 2 weeks, he was completely dominated. He canceled plans with friends because she created drama. He stopped studying to give her attention when she was bored. He accepted when she canceled plans last minute. He paid for everything, even when he was broke. The cost? He lost friends who got tired of the cancellations. His grades plummeted. His bank account was drained. And her? Increasingly demanding, more dramatic, more disrespectful, until the day he set a boundary. She canceled a movie last minute for the 3rd time. He calmly said that this didn't work for him, and that if she wanted to continue, she needed to respect commitments. She made a scene, threatened to break up. He held his frame. He said he understood if she wanted to break up, but he wouldn't accept disrespect for his time anymore. She came back the next day apologizing. She never canceled again. You are making 5 fatal mistakes that kill attraction before it even begins. Mistakes you repeat every single day, thinking you're doing the right thing. First mistake, over-availability. You're always online, always available, always ready. She texts. You reply instantly. She wants attention. You drop everything. She needs something. You rush to her. Do you know what this communicates? That you have nothing important going on, that your life is empty, that she's the only source of validation you have. This doesn't generate attraction, it generates contempt. A woman wants a man with his own life, not a puppy waiting for affection. Second mistake, seeking validation. You ask if she liked the date, if she's having fun, if she liked the gift. You justify yourself when you do something. You over-explain your decisions. You subtly ask for approval in every action. This is an emotional repellent. You're communicating that you don't trust your own judgment, that you need her approval to feel secure. This isn't attractive, it's pathetic. Third mistake, emotional reactivity. She makes a comment, and you explode. She takes a while to respond, and you get anxious. She mentions another guy, and you show jealousy. She tests your limits, and you lose your composure. Every time you react emotionally, you lose frame. It shows that she controls your emotional state, that she has power over you, and power without challenge kills attraction. Fourth mistake, excessive compliments and favors. You compliment everything about her: her outfit, her hair, her smile, her intelligence, her work. You give gifts for no reason. You make constant surprises. This completely devalues your gestures. It's like printing money. It causes inflation. Your compliments lose value. Your gifts become expectations. Your kindness turns into an obligation. An obligation doesn't generate desire. Fifth mistake, neglecting boundaries. She disrespects your time, and you accept it. She crosses your boundaries, and you give in. She creates drama, and you apologize. Every time you don't maintain a boundary, you lose a piece of respect. And without respect, there is no attraction. A woman needs to know that you have a backbone, that you won't bend to every emotional whim. The truth is, you've been programmed to fail. Society, movies, your mother, everyone taught you that being a nice guy wins hearts, that persistence overcomes resistance, that if you do everything right, you'll be rewarded with love. All lies. The real game works the opposite way. The less you chase, the more she approaches. The less you care about her approval, the more she seeks yours. The more you focus on your life, the more she wants to be a part of it. It's counterintuitive. That's why few men understand it, and why even fewer apply it. You need to understand that this isn't manipulation. It's psychological understanding. You're not deceiving anyone. You're just stopping self-sabotage, stopping behaviors that kill your own attractiveness. Starting to act like a man of true value naturally acts. A man of value isn't always available because he has important things to do. He doesn't seek validation because he trusts himself. He doesn't react emotionally because he has internal control. He doesn't flatter because he knows his worth. He doesn't abandon boundaries because he has self-respect. And here's the most important thing. This isn't about becoming an asshole. It's not about mistreating women. It's about valuing yourself, about having your own life, about being a complete man who chooses to share his life, not a half man who needs someone to complete him. Many will say this is playing games, that it's manipulation, that you should just be yourself. But answer me, has being yourself been working? Has being kind and available generated the desire you want? Has doing everything right according to the nice guy manual created the connection you're looking for? No. Then maybe it's time to question the manual. Now, I'm going to give you the exact protocol to start changing today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Because every day you postpone is another day of being disrespected, devalued, ignored. Step 1. Identify 2 non-negotiable boundaries. It could be about time, about respect, about energy. 2 boundaries you will communicate and maintain no matter what. If she disrespects them, you calmly communicate the consequence and apply it. No drama, no emotion, just action. This begins to establish that you have self-worth. Step 2. Apply a qualification in the next interaction. When she tells you something, don't just accept it. Question it. Ask for more details. Make her work to impress you. Shift the dynamic from you trying to please her to her trying to win you over. It's subtle, but powerful. Step 3. Create micro-scarcity. Choose 30 minutes of your day that will be sacred. No phone. No replying to messages. No giving attention. You are busy with something important to you. It could be a workout, reading, a personal project. These 30 minutes communicate that your life doesn't revolve around her. Step 4. Selectively reward. Stop complimenting obvious appearances and traits. Only compliment behaviors you value. Did she take initiative? Acknowledge it. Was she considerate? Thank her. Did she respect your time? Value it. But not always. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Keep it unpredictable. Step 5. Always hold your frame. When she tests you, and she will test you, don't react. Breathe. Respond calmly. If she creates drama, you maintain your peace. If she provokes, you smile. If she threatens, you accept it. The frame is your psychological shield. Whoever holds the frame controls the interaction. There are men reading this right now who are afraid of losing her if they apply these principles. Let me tell you a secret. If she leaves because you started having boundaries and self-worth, she was never yours. You were just on loan, paying emotional rent for an illusion of a relationship. A woman who genuinely desires you won't leave because you have your own life. On the contrary, she'll want to be a part of that life. She'll respect your boundaries. She'll value your time. She'll compete for your attention because you've become a prize, not a consolation prize. But if you continue the way you are, do you know what awaits you? More of the same, more scraps of attention, more disrespect disguised as a test, more wasted energy on someone who doesn't see you as a man. More nights questioning what you did wrong when, in reality, the mistake is what you're not doing. The clock is ticking. Every second that passes is another second living a lie. Being the nice guy who finishes last, the friend who hears about other guys, the boyfriend who becomes a doormat, the husband who becomes a piece of furniture. You have 2 options in front of you now. Continue being the man who seeks scraps of validation, who begs for attention, who pleads for desire. Or start today on the journey to become the man who naturally ignites her desire, who has his own life, who has boundaries, who has value. The choice seems obvious, but few make it, because it's easier to stay in the comfort zone of known disrespect than to risk unknown respect. It's safer to be the rejected nice guy than the valued man, because being valued requires you to first value yourself, and that takes work. I'm going to tell you what separates men who live with an abundance of desire from those who live in emotional scarcity. It's not looks, it's not money, it's not status. It's the courage to be authentically valuable, to not negotiate the non-negotiable, to choose self-respect over external approval. Every time you give up a boundary, you die a little inside. Every time you seek validation, you lose a piece of power. Every time you devalue yourself for attention, you reinforce that you don't deserve better. And she feels it. At the most primitive level of her brain, she categorizes you as a beta provider, not an alpha lover. I'm not telling you to become a troglodyte. I'm telling you to stop being an emotional doormat. There's a middle ground between being an asshole and being a doormat. It's called a man of value. And that's what you need to become if you want to spark genuine desire. Think of all the men you know who have women obsessed with them. They're not necessarily the best looking. They're not the richest. They're the ones who have their own lives, who have projects, who have boundaries, who aren't desperate for approval, who choose to share their time, not beg for company. Scarcity generates value. It's a universal law. Gold is valuable because it's scarce. Diamond is valuable because it's rare. Your time and attention will only be valued when they are scarce. When you're always available, you're like water. Necessary perhaps, but not desired. I want you to imagine for a second what your life would be like if you applied these principles. Her texting first. her suggesting dates, her trying to impress you, her respecting your time, her valuing your attention, her initiating intimacy, her being afraid of losing you instead of the other way around. This isn't fantasy. It's the reality of men who understood the game, who stopped playing by the rules they were taught and started playing by the rules that work. Rules based on evolutionary psychology, on power dynamics, on principles of value and scarcity. But here's the problem. Knowledge without action is just entertainment. You can read this, agree, and tomorrow continue doing the same thing. Responding to texts in 2 seconds. Canceling commitments for her. Seeking approval, giving in on boundaries. And then 6 months from now, you'll be in the same place, or worse, because time is unforgiving. Every day you live without self-respect is a day you teach her to disrespect you. Every interaction where you devalue yourself is an interaction that reinforces your inferior position. It's a vicious cycle that only gets worse with time. The window of opportunity is open now, but it won't stay open forever. If you're in a relationship, every day of the wrong dynamic makes it harder to fix. If you're single, every wasted interaction is a lost opportunity to create the right dynamic from the start. I know you're afraid of losing her, afraid of being alone, afraid of being seen as arrogant, afraid of not being good enough. That fear is exactly what keeps you trapped. It's what she sniffs out. It's what kills any possibility of genuine desire. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in spite of fear. And you need to have the courage to change the dynamic, to set boundaries, to value yourself, to stop begging for scraps, and start offering a feast of value that she wants to be a part of. Look, I could spend hours here explaining more theory, more psychology, more case studies. But the truth is, you already know enough. What's missing isn't knowledge, it's action. It's the decision to stop being the nice guy who finishes last and start being the man of value who chooses who he shares his time with. So here's my final challenge for you. In the next 7 days, apply at least 3 of the 5 steps of the protocol. Set boundaries, create scarcity, hold your frame, and observe what happens. Observe the subtle shift in her energy, in her interest, in her respect, in her desire. But more importantly, observe the change in yourself, in your confidence, in your self-respect, in your energy. Because ultimately, this isn't about her. It's about you becoming the best version of yourself. And when you do that, her desire is just a natural consequence. The brutal truth is that most will read this and do nothing. They'll continue in the same toxic dynamic. They'll continue begging for attention. They'll continue being disrespected. And a year from now, they'll be in the same place, wondering why nothing changes. Don't be part of the majority. Be part of the few who have the courage to change, who have the audacity to value themselves, who have the strength to maintain boundaries, who have the wisdom to understand that less is more when it comes to sparking desire. The time to be the nice guy is over. The time to seek approval has passed. The time to neglect your boundaries has ended. Now is the time to become the man who naturally sparks desire, who has his own magnetism, who attracts instead of chases. And what if she doesn't value the new you? What if she doesn't respect your boundaries? What if she doesn't adapt to the new dynamic? Then she did you a favor by showing you who she really is. Someone who doesn't deserve your time, your energy, your emotional investment. And you'll be free to find someone who values a real man. Because in the end, that's what this is about. It's not about seduction techniques. It's not about psychological games. It's about becoming a man who naturally attracts for who he is, not for what he does to please. It's about having a life so interesting that she wants to be a part of it. It's about having such clear value that she competes to be with you. Every second you spend reading this without applying it is a wasted second. The knowledge is here. The protocol is clear. The examples are given. The only thing between you and her genuine desire is your decision to act. Tomorrow, you can wake up and be the same man who begs for attention. Or you can wake up as the man who began the journey of transformation, who took the first step to get out of the emotional friend zone, who decided he deserves more than scraps of affection. The revolution begins with a decision. The decision not to accept less than you deserve, not to negotiate your boundaries, not to seek external validation, not to be always available, not to be anyone's consolation prize. You have the map, you have the tools, you have the examples. The only thing missing is the courage to apply them. And that courage no one can give you. You need to find it within yourself, in that place where your dignity screams for respect, where your worth demands recognition, where your masculinity demands expression. This is the moment. This is the time. This is your chance to turn the game around once and for all, to stop being the guy who watches other men live with an abundance of desire while you survive with a scarcity of attention. Choose one of the protocol steps. Apply it today, not tomorrow, today. And come back here to share what happened, what boundary you established, what frame you held, what scarcity you created, and most importantly, how she reacted. Because every man who transforms his dynamic is another proof that this works. It's another example that desire isn't won with flattery, but with self-worth. It's more evidence that you don't have to be the nice guy who finishes last. The future is in your hands. Her desire is within your reach, but only if you have the courage to stop doing what doesn't work and start doing what does. The courage to value yourself first, to be valued later. The courage to be the prize instead of competing for one. The choice is yours. Scarcity or abundance. Scraps or the feast. Disrespect or desire. You decide, but decide now. Because tomorrow will be too late. Tomorrow you will have lost another day. Tomorrow the dynamic will be even more crystallized. Tomorrow will just be another tomorrow like today, unless you act, unless you change, unless you decide that it's time to effortlessly ignite her desire, using her own psychology to your advantage, being the man who naturally attracts, the man she doesn't want to lose, the man she truly desires. That man is inside you, waiting to come out. Waiting for permission, waiting for courage. Stop waiting, start acting. Her desire is waiting on the other side of your decision. Make the right choice. Make the courageous choice. Make the choice now.